I have some massive updates about JD Vance, the historically unpopular Republican vice presidential candidate who may be trying to sabotage the Trump campaign from the inside. I say that in jest because JD Vance has faced scandal after scandal after scandal, and it seems like he forgot to scrub a picture of him flirting with Nazism as the Trump campaign has done many times before. Do you guys remember a few months back when this headline came out? Trump campaign shares video referencing Nazi Germany. A video reposted on former President Donald Trump's Truth Social account shows images of a fake newspaper article that references a quote, unified Reich if he's elected in 2024. Or what about this one? Donald Trump's history with Adolf Hitler and his Nazi writings. Even after backlash, Trump again echoed his words at a campaign rally. Trump has used Hitler's words verbatim by saying that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. I haven't even mentioned Donald Trump's old wife saying that he used to keep Hitler's speeches by his bedside. We have seen this repeated pattern of Donald Trump and his campaign being inextricably linked to Nazism, to the echoes of Adolf Hitler, and now JD Vance is following that same exact pattern. We'll break it all down. I'll fill you guys in. Make sure you leave a like on this video, and first, let's watch Adam Kinzinger tear into JD Vance for his misogynistic comments. This is a very cathartic clip. Take a look.
Yeah, I mean, it's not taken out of context. You put the context there. There's something about, I guess, when JD Vance is putting on his eyeliner in the morning, he's thinking about how can I offend the most people I possibly can, probably never expected to be vice president. And it's insane what he's doing, what he's saying. And, look, he goes on Tucker Carlson and he's like, what can I say that's outrageous, that's going to get Tucker to laugh and shake his head, which Tucker shook his head in agreement. What can I say that can be more outrageous that'll make me sound like I'm some, hardcore MAGA politician? And this is what you get. This is the same JD Vance that hated Donald Trump just 5 years ago, by the way. But you look at, even today, Katie Britt, Alabama senator, tweeted something about how Kamala Harris should condemn the opening ceremony of the Olympics in France. It's just this constant stoking of outrage and anger that is the currency in MAGA today, and that's what you see with JD Vance.
Adam Kinzinger is absolutely right, as always, especially his point about JD Vance playing a character. JD Vance having thoughts about what can I say to rile up the most MAGA people and make them think that I am hardcore MAGA, because again, just 5 years ago, he was a never-Trumper, and we have seen a bunch of evidence that he was a never-Trumper. He was somewhat liberal. His wife was. All of his friends and family were. Before we break down this Nazi memorabilia post, I really quickly want to break down this article. It says, Usha Vance, JD Vance's wife, told friends Trump appalled her. Now she's working to elect him. Many such cases. These people are all grifting. The potential second lady found Trump's actions on January 6th, quote, deeply disturbing, a friend said, but ambition and devotion to her husband ultimately drove her to a place in the former president's campaign. And this article has been going viral. Everybody has been talking about this during her rise through America's most prestigious schools, the ones that JD Vance now rails against, law firms and judicial clerkships. Usha Vance rarely, if ever, volunteered her opinions on the nation's bitterly partisan politics to friends and colleagues, but she did express revulsion at former President Donald Trump's actions on January 6, 2021, as any normal American would, who wants to see people trying to subvert the will of the American people on live TV at the Capitol while the VP is inside. Vance told friends she was outraged by Trump's incitement of the deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol and lamented the social breakdown that fueled his political support, according to one friend who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss sensitive conversations. Her views at the time contrast with the later pronouncements of her husband and Trump's newly minted running mate, JD Vance, who has downplayed the storming of the Capitol and called participants who were jailed, quote, political prisoners, but the only reason that JD Vance is saying that is because he wants to echo Donald Trump's words. He wants to be a good little sycophant and make sure that he is repeating Daddy's rhetoric. Quote, Usha found the incursion on the Capitol and Trump's role in it to be deeply disturbing, the friend recalled. And this brings us back to the main story of today, which is JD Vance flirting with Nazism, flirting with Nazi memorabilia. So this story broke when some random user on Twitter found JD Vance's tweet from September 11th, 2021. That is right, the 20th anniversary of 9/11. He is at a gun show, and at this gun show, they are selling swastikas only a few feet away from him. Apparently, Trump's team Trump didn't vet him. Apparently there was no vetting process at all, because now we are hearing all of these wild stories. Somebody actually got more likes than him. JD Vance's post got 1.5 thousand likes. Joey's post says, when they tell you who they are, believe them. And this got 6,000 likes. In response to this post, Jack on Twitter said, hey, are those swastikas or am I seeing things? And this, again, got 2.3 million views, 35,000 likes. So people are realizing. MeidasTouch, shout out MeidasTouch, said, looks like JD Vance forgot to scrub his feed of this photo of him at a gun show that sells Nazi memorabilia. And this tweet was going viral. Comment a blue heart for MeidasTouch. But again, when they tell you who they are, believe them. When Donald Trump shares ads showing Nazi imagery, when Donald Trump keeps Hitler's speeches on his bedside and then a few decades later repeats Hitler's words verbatim, when Donald Trump goes out on stage, as he did last night, and says that if you vote in this election, you won't even have to worry about voting in the next election because we'll fix it so good, only a few months after saying he will be a day one dictator. Meanwhile, the Heritage Foundation is cooking up Project 2025. All of these things could culminate into us losing our democracy if we don't step up right now. To tie this all together, JD Vance wrote foreword of upcoming book from Project 2025 architect. Republican VP nominee JD Vance wrote the foreword of an upcoming book from the architect of Project 2025, Kevin Roberts, you know, the bloodless revolution guy. And this book is basically just Project 2025, the book. Former President Trump, who chose Vance as his running mate, has attempted to distance himself from the Heritage Foundation's backed plan after Democrats seized on it to mobilize voters, and we kind of blew it up into a national story in the best way possible, driving the news and publishing materials for the Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts' upcoming book. Vance said Roberts is presenting a new future for conservatism, and we have seen time and time again Republicans saying that the Heritage Foundation guides Republican policy, that the Heritage Foundation drives what Republican presidents do while they're in office, and they've been doing so since Ronald Reagan. Fun fact, the first ever mandate for leadership, which is what Project 2025 is, it's a new version of the mandate for leadership, which they release every 4 years. The first version was immediately adopted by President Reagan, and he actually took the Heritage Foundation people and filled his cabinet with them, and Donald Trump has done similar things. I mean, his cabinet will 100% be filled with Heritage Foundation people. His VP is a Heritage Foundation person. Peter Navarro is a Heritage Foundation person. So he is trying to mirror President Reagan in a very similar way with the Heritage Foundation. Vance also uses incendiary imagery while praising the book, writing, quote, we are now all realizing that it's time to circle the wagons and load the muskets. In the fights that lay ahead, these ideas are an essential weapon. And they say that we need to lower the temperature. Meanwhile, he's calling for a revolution in more words or less. If you enjoyed this video, if you appreciate the breakdown I do, please make sure you leave a like on the video, comment a blue heart, make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. We are so close to 300,000. I appreciate all of you guys. Most importantly, make sure you have a great day.